started the bid in 2007 when there wasn't a lot of traction in the development world, not many footprints of buildings, but a lot to come. And we kept together for a long time through the recession, when there were dark days and not much development was happening anywhere, but we got our parks built and other projects were queuing up. And now working together is a success. And you can look out the window and see 10 building cranes or 11 building cranes, projects we'll dive into a little deeper. But this is a very robust city we live in with a high level of economic development. And the Capital Riverfront is but a microcosm of what's going on, but we like to think it's a pretty special one. So I want to thank our board of directors. As I like to say, I'm from the South. They help me keep the car between the ditches. And if I do get in the ditch, they help me pull it out and put me on the right path again. So our board of directors are elected to 3-year terms. There are 3 classes of these 3-year terms, 21 voting directors, and then we have 6 at-large stakeholders representing nonprofits and other organizations that do not pay the bid tax. But they give us great guidance. We meet 4 to 5 times a year. They lend us their strategic thinking. They also do the development. So all of you who are members of our board of directors, if you would please stand and let us give you a round of applause for all that you've done for our neighborhood and for the bid organization. And then day to day, I couldn't be more proud and happier of the team that we have assembled at the Capital Riverfront bid. I work with 6 extraordinary professionals who live things from the smallest details to the grandest vision. And I think it was Lincoln who surrounded himself with people who would disagree with him, smart people who will disagree with you and challenge you to be better than you are. And these guys do that, and they do it in a very nice and polite way. And we have great discussions about the future of this neighborhood and how we can implement things. And I am so happy that they're part of our team, and I want you to give them a special round of applause for all that they do. They're very photogenic people, too, as well, I think. We are fortunate to have Charles Allen as our council member. Charles served as the chief of staff to Tommy Wells, who was our 2-term council member for Ward 6, served 8 years, and Charles, for 6.5 of those years, was the chief of staff. And I knew when I called up Charles, he was going to answer my phone call, have a meeting with me, discuss the issue, look at the alternatives. One of the greatest strategic thinkers I know, who understands the legislative process, how partnerships are formed, and how to utilize his bully pulpit of a seat on the council. I was happy to help work for his election. I'm so proud that he's our council member. He's overseeing more economic development projects in Ward 6 than any other ward in the city, and he does it very well. And I think I said this last year, with Charles, there are no issues, there are only opportunities, and strategic opportunities at that. So Charles, thank you for what you do for us. Please come join us and give us some welcoming remarks. Great to have you, my friend.
Thank you, Michael. That was really nice. And hopefully we got a couple of those things done, too, so I appreciate it. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Michael. You've acknowledged them. I want to give a special thanks to your entire team of the bid. Just does phenomenal work in this neighborhood. Also, we acknowledged earlier the board members for the bid, but these guys do a lot of incredible work. I have the pleasure of sitting in occasionally on some of their meetings. They just do phenomenal work. And then also to the Clean and Safe team, who do so much across the neighborhood. You really make this such a great space. Let's give them a big round of applause, too. And of course, to Gregory and the Nationals for helping host this again. Really appreciate that. Now, last year, I think as we gathered here, the ink was drying on Max Scherzer's contract. So that worked out pretty well. Good deal there. And we've had another set of moves this winter. And in case you're not keeping track, you should be. 34 days till pitchers and catchers report. And we're looking forward to spring training. But as we look out on this field, it's always fun. The last couple of years, walked in because it's just gorgeous weather. It's a whole lot of fun to walk through the ballpark in this type of setting and see this. And it gets me very optimistic for the spring and with Dusty Baker and with the whole team in terms of where we're headed for the Nationals. So thank you very much. Now, also at this event last year, the event celebrated some of the visionaries that actually helped get us to where we are today. With special accolades going to former Mayor Anthony Williams and then Director of Planning Andy Altman. And we talked about how 2003 was really a watershed moment for our city. We adopted the Anacostia Waterfront Initiative. And that framework laid out the direction of how we work not only to clean up the river, but also to integrate the river back into our city and into our lives. When fully built out, and Michael mentions this all the time, the area that makes up the Capital Riverfront will be the size and scale, frankly, of many American middle-sized cities. And just think about that. That's only just within the bid boundaries. Well, actually, I think many mid-sized cities probably don't have a baseball stadium, a soccer stadium, award-winning parks, public transit, booming construction, thousands of new residents, and a beautiful river running right through it. So I think actually you've got a little bit more than what most cities have, and frankly, are the envy of that. But that's exactly why the vision of where we want to go next matters so much to me, and I know to all of you. The Anacostia Waterfront Initiative laid out a 30-year vision and plan, and we're essentially at the halfway point. I'm committed to that vision, but this is a perfect time and a great opportunity to reflect on what more we need to do. The return of the Anacostia River is about so much more than just the cleanup of the watershed. Like you, I'm invested in the future of the river, a river where we can fish, where we can boat, where we can even swim, a river filled with healthy wildlife where we can have bald eagles and egrets flying overhead, and we can have turtles and shad swimming in the water, and a river with active piers and marinas that take us out onto the water. In short, a river that's actually in full use for our city. A healthy river, a dynamic river, will lead the way in spurring neighborhood and economic development even further. Nearly 60% of all the economic development in our city is actually taking place right here in Ward 6. And of that, a whole bunch of it's taking place right here in the Capital Riverfront. And as some of you know, I have a 3-year-old little girl, and she loves construction right now. So we take her frequently. When she tells me she wants to go see the cranes, I know exactly which neighborhood I'm headed to. After only the NOMA Metro Station, the Navy Yard and Ballpark Station is projected to realize the highest concentration of development in the entire Metro DC area, just down the street. And not just that, but if you look at the green line between the waterfront, this station, Anacostia, and the Congress Heights Metro stations, you're looking at the Metro line that is projected to have the largest growth in development, jobs, and residents over the next 15 years. And it's not just business and transit growth. The Washington Post just highlighted this neighborhood as the city's fastest growing and perhaps the most attractive, with nearly 11,000 households planned near the Metro stop alone. That's phenomenal. So as we head into the home stretch of this 30-year vision and plan, we need to ensure a strong focus on the leadership and vision that ties this area's economic development together, which is much more than looking at things on a project-by-project basis. And that's exactly the type of constructive and collaborative conversations that I'm having with our mayor, with our deputy mayor, with our ANC leadership, with our bid, and with businesses across the area. I'm committed to the investments that are needed from the city, as well as working toward the shared planning needed with our partners on the private side. And I think this will be true not just on these shores, but for the entirety of the river, and what's important is on both sides of our river. So that, Michael, as we all gather for the bid's 2030 annual luncheon and meeting a few years from now, we'll probably note that Michael might have a few more gray hairs by that point, but we will also be celebrating a vision achieved and a river that's been reclaimed for our city. So thank you all very much for the incredible work that you do to make all of this happen. Thank you again to the bid, and thank you for helping to celebrate one more year with the Capital Riverfront. Thank you.
So many of you know our men in blue, the gentlemen who are out every day, 7 days a week, from about 7:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon, ensuring that we have a high-quality, clean, and safe public realm. When we first started working on the Capital Riverfront bid in 2006, the #1 priority from our board of directors at that time was create a baseline of clean and safe that makes the neighborhood feel and look clean and feel safe. And these gentlemen have done that. We've shown you the progress over the years. I found them to be amazing men who take on their tasks daily very happily, with enthusiasm and great energy for what they've done. They realize what they've accomplished, but they realize there's more to come. And I like this quote because I think it applies to them in such a big, big way. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. And I think these gentlemen embody that. They came, and you would not have believed the amount of trash and tires and refrigerators and stoves and things that they removed from the public realm, and they still do in areas of Buzzard Point, which some people perceive as a dumping ground, but that's all about to change. They do this every day, and they do it with a happy smile. And I wish Patty Brosmer was here, because we recently went to contract with her group, Ready, Willing, and Working, to provide us the services. Our men transfer to that, and they've been happy with that. Patty's group does an amazing job. We were at their Miracles and Magic celebration in December, so kudos to Andrew Lee and Patty Brosmer for bringing that program as a contractual service and all the good things they do for the other neighborhoods. But now I want to invite up Dan Mellman, who's my Vice President of Parks and Public Realm. This is the part of the program where we do honor our clean and safe team for all that they do. Give you a chance to give them some accolades, but also give us a chance to give them some accolades. So Dan, there you are. Come on up, my friend.
Good afternoon, and again, thank you for being here. I'd like to invite our Clean and Safe team to join me at the side of the stage as we share with you both some statistics and some presentations. I know these gentlemen well. I work with them on a daily basis, and as I look at them and I interact with them, I'm reminded of a recent TED Talk I heard from Amanda Burden, who's the former New York City Chief of Planning under Michael Bloomberg. She really emphasized the point, public space creates value. So as we think of the development, sometimes it's really important to think about the spaces in between that development that help enhance that. And these gentlemen are the stewards of that public space. Every year we conduct an annual survey, and as part of that survey we're asking people to gauge, that'd be great. We can actually gauge what people's perceptions are. And in some ways perceptions are reality. And these numbers speak for themselves. 8 years ago, tucked in behind some of these guys, this perception of cleanliness and safety was at 6%. It has continued to soar. Last year when I was up here, I said that I was able to report that the amount of trash we collected in the neighborhood more than doubled from the previous year. I'm not really able to say that this year. It didn't quite double, it almost doubled. 52,000 bags of trash were collected, roughly 1.5 million pounds in our 500 acres. This stems from the influx of new residents, from countless events. The men that are here are beloved in the neighborhood. They have helped transform the neighborhood. The public space that we value so much is in their care, and it is in very good hands. Our core group of 12 men is supplemented with seasonal employees, 2 of whom are with us today. One of the highlights of this last year is the investment we made in our team. We brought the guys under a new service contract that you heard Michael mention. This is a program called Ready, Willing, and Working, which is administered by the Capitol Hill bid. It is modeled over Ready, Willing, and Able out of New York. It is a tremendous organization that is reshaping the delivery of clean and safe services in the city. After signing our contract this year, they picked up the Southwest bid and expanded the good work that they are doing there. Theirs is a very compassionate approach to management and provides great scaffolding and great support services to our guys. Our team has paid health care. They received wage increases again this year. New employees are brought in above the DC living wage, and all are able to participate in the retirement program with a match. I am pleased to report this has been a tremendously successful change in turnover to work with Ready, Willing, and Working. Andrew Lee from Capitol Hill bid is here. I would say that the morale and the performance of our team is at an all-time high. Any savings we realized with this change, we have invested in both the men, in the hours that we've increased the service, and in the new equipment that we have purchased for landscaping, snow removal, and our capacity to build and to deliver a high level of service. One of the linchpins of this is our operations manager, Jerry Carcamo. He is a great advocate and mentor for this group. I wanted to recognize him. He's very embarrassed. And I would like to invite Charles Allen to join me up on the stage, which he is, to help present our Clean Team Awards. Many of the staffers deserve recognition, but we have selected a few who deserve just a little bit more. Our core group is featured in our annual report, and I encourage you to look through that and perhaps commit a name to memory of somebody that you might see on a daily basis to give them a shout out of your own. The first award is a 3-part award. We are inducting our longest-term employees into our Clean Team Hall of Fame, Jeffrey Malcolm, William Wardlaw, and Andre Toby. And unfortunately, Mr. Toby is not here today. These gentlemen are consistent, they are hardworking, they take great pride in their work, and each of them has won numerous awards over the course of the years and always seem to bring in many accolades from our public interaction, emails and such. So Andre is not here, as I said. Mr. Malcolm, Mr. Wardlaw, if you can come forward, please. Our next award is for outstanding performance, and we have a repeat winner. Last year's winner, Joseph Wright Bay, has again had a exemplary year. Last year was a transformative year for Joe. That continues. He has one of the brightest smiles on our team and is a shining light seen primarily in Canal Park and at our events. Jerry, the operations manager, shared with me that he had Joe speak to the guys and share a skill. And it was really telling when Jerry shared the story with me. He said, Joe's skill was forgiveness. So crucial in diffusing situations. I'm always impressed with Joe, and he does a tremendous job of looking out for some of the disadvantaged people and populations in our community. Great guy, and I'm really pleased to announce that he's our winner for outstanding performance. And it's his birthday. Our final award is for our Employee of the Year, and I'd like to invite to the stage Antoine Walker. He is one of our newest employees. He started at the beginning of the last year, and he is a rock. He is often in the truck, he is often at our events, he is there on weekends, he is there on evenings for a lot of our events. Independent, he has great attention to detail, a strong work ethic, and a great demeanor. He brings his best every day. And if you can indulge me in a moment, I would like to recognize the entire team, and this would be a great time to give them all a round of applause. Their hard work out each and every day, making a huge difference in our community. Thank you.
As you can tell, we love these guys, and they love this neighborhood and have from the day one. So thank you, gentlemen, for all that you do for the neighborhood, for your bright smiles, your happy countenance, and the tons and tons of trash that you've removed and the perception of safety that you create in our neighborhood. You truly are our men in blue and our ambassadors 7 days a week. We're fortunate today to have Mayor Muriel Bowser join us. And you can look out the window towards Southwest and see some of the things that she's worked on, primarily the soccer stadium there, but carrying forward the mantle of leadership on the Anacostia Waterfront Framework Plan that Mayor Williams created. Mayor Bowser was sworn in as DC's 7th mayor on January 2nd, 2015, so we get her a year into office, and I can't wait to hear her thoughts. She's made significant strides to create economic development for all of the district's residents while working to preserve and grow the middle class. And I think that's a fundamental thing for any city to undertake, and I appreciate her doing that. Her priorities of the administration include affordable housing, public safety, ending homelessness in DC, environmental sustainability, fiscal integrity and accountability of city agencies, and making DC an innovation hub, which we're well on the way to becoming. Before being elected mayor, she served as a council member for Ward 4, first through a special election in 2007, and then again in 2008 and 2012 through the general election process. She chaired the Committee on Economic Development, where that committee and her were responsible for over 5,000 units of affordable housing being produced, securing the best real estate at the Walter Reed campus for our city, for that magnificent development that's going to occur. And then, of course, what's close to our heart, passing the legislation for the financing of the soccer stadium, the DC United Soccer Stadium at Buzzard Point. Thank you, Madam Mayor. She also served as an ANC commissioner, as a graduate of Chatham College, and received her master's in public policy from American University. We're proud to call you mayor, proud to call you a friend of the Capital Riverfront, and so glad you're here to share your thoughts with us. Thank you for joining us. Pleasure to have you. What fun to have you.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is delightful to be here today at Nationals Park, where we're just 34 days away from spring training, I'm told. And so that's a very good thing. I'm always happy to be with my good friend and former mayor of the District of Columbia, who had a lot to do with us being able to have a Nationals Park. Let's hear it for Tony Williams. Give him a big round of applause. And we're all always grateful for the support of our Congresswoman, who has so much to do with why we are able to develop along our great waterways, and especially with the tremendous project at the wharf. And just about, I was with someone just the other day who's a DC resident and business owner, and she has a contract on a condo at the wharf, and she's moving in 2017. So you can see how the pace and momentum of all of these projects, sometimes they take a lot of years, a lot of votes, a lot of budget, but real people will benefit. Real Washingtonians will be able to call the wharf home and to be able to find a job there or to be able to visit a hotel there. And I am also grateful to be able to work with what I call him the new old council member. Because even though he was sworn in on the same day that I was just last year, he knows Ward 6 like the back of his hand, and he can go down to the council and really deliver. And he has been since day one from Ward 6. Your council member, Charles Allen. Give him a big round of applause. So to my big deal team, that's what I call DMPED, our Planning and Economic Development Office. Brian Kenner is the deputy mayor for that office, and he has been doing a tremendous job focused on the economic development engine that is Washington, D.C. I couldn't be more proud to be mayor of my hometown, and especially at a time like this, where we are growing, where our finances have improved, where people and businesses are moving to our city at rapid rates. I'm also happy to be mayor of my hometown at a time where we're going to continue that progress, but make sure more Washingtonians participate in that progress. And that is what our administration is all about. We know, too, that we are able to make the investments in spreading that prosperity because our business districts are doing the job that they're doing, attracting businesses, making our business corridors and places clean and safe, and keeping and feeding the economic engine that is Washington. And one of the most important things, one of the most important assets that we have as a city is our beautiful Anacostia River. And I say beautiful because it is beautiful, and it is going to become more beautiful because of the very intentional efforts of a lot of people around this room. Some have called the Anacostia the Forgotten River. If that was ever the case, it's forgotten no more. And I'm grateful to the mayor, Mayor Williams, and all of the city leaders who have been a part of that, but also to the very real work that the Capitol Riverfront bid is doing to keep the Anacostia clean for generations to come. The river and its neighborhoods are indeed a tremendous asset to our city. You won't go anywhere around the world and see great cities that have rivers, waterfronts, waterways that don't contribute to the vitality of that city. And so we have to make sure we're capturing that beauty and value in our river too. So my administration is working with our regional and federal partners to improve the quality of this waterway, restore the watershed, and help communities along the shores reach their full potential and redefine the Anacostia River communities as regional jewels. We're making a lot of progress towards sustainability, and I have the opportunity to build on the work of past mayors and past city officials who are still engaged in this work, and we take it very seriously. Some people think that cities can't lead on climate, that we have to wait for countries and nations around the world to do it. And what global cities all over this nation have proved is that cities can, in fact, lead. Our director of the Department of Energy and Environment represented all of us in Paris most recently, I think in December, to accept an award that recognized Washington, D.C. as a leading global city on climate. In our city, we have a bag law. Remember, everybody remember that? It's working. It's working. And this just past January, and you know, sometimes when we put these types of restrictions in place, there is this sense of gloom and doom, that it's going to put us out of business and people won't be able to do it. But what in fact happened is what we wanted. People changed their behavior. They stopped using bags. They use recycle bags. And they're teaching their children, or their children are teaching them. And that way we will help clean the Anacostia River. On January the 1st, we have done another thing to help keep our river clean, and that's to ban styrofoam with takeout containers and such. Because when you look in our river and when folks are cleaning our river, they're finding a lot of those as well. Just in the 5 years since the bag law was implemented, we've reduced the number of plastic bags in the river by a full 72%. And DC Water's Clean Rivers project will reduce combined sewer overflows in the Anacostia by 98%. So the next big thing that we want to talk about is Buzzard Point. That's what everybody asked me to talk about today. And I was very proud as a council member to work with the members on the council to make sure that we could have a world-class soccer stadium for DC United, but to also make sure that we would be in charge, the city, not a developer, in how we transform the Reeves Center. And we will do that. With Deputy Mayor Kenner's leadership, we're very focused on doing our part, and we're on schedule to do exactly that. The city has acquired all the land we need in the process of doing the horizontal development and cleanup at Buzzard Point. What we know is that with our Office on Planning, not only will we have a new stadium, but we will build a vision and framework and implementation plan to enhance all of Buzzard Point. So I'm told that we're in the early stages of this plan, and we envision residential units, we envision waterfront park and more, plazas and social places that will enhance our great neighborhoods. We will combine public dollars with private sector investment to create a vibrant, sustainable community, one that connects the nearby Southwest and Capitol River waterfront neighborhoods to our beautiful waterfront. So I want to thank all of our partners at the Capitol Riverfront bid. Give them another round of applause, because they are really doing a tremendous job. And as I was coming in, I also was able to see the awards given to our clean and safe team. And I happen to be, you heard Michael say that I was a ward council member, an ANC commissioner before that, and I love clean and safe teams. I have invested, doubled down, and tripled down on clean and safe teams all over our city. And what I also know about bids is that the very successful bids, the bids that have experience, we want to be able to leverage the good experience that you have and share that with other bids, or share that with neighborhoods that are in training. I call them in pre-bid. They want to see if their businesses will support these additional clean and safe services as well. So we want to continue to thank the Capitol Riverfront for attracting businesses and retail, building new homes, new places for Washingtonians to live and work. We know right here in the Capitol Riverfront that there is $1 billion in economic activity, more than 1,000 full-time jobs, and bids will always be critical to our successes in Washington. The city can do a lot. Last year, we spent $15 billion. We can do a lot more when businesses step up to the plate to help us continue to be a world-class city. So I'm happy to be here today. I want to congratulate you on another great year and can continue to count on us for support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. Appreciate your commitment to the city, but also to our neighborhood and to the waterfront, continuing the legacy of Anthony Williams and subsequent mayors and the council of the District of Columbia. Water is magic, and I think we're seeing the development of an Uber waterfront south of the freeway, the Southeast-Southwest Freeway, that will create enjoyment and opportunities to access the river for all. Just a quick commercial break. You have bags on your table full of goodies, and two of the things in those bags are our annual report, which you see here, and the State of the Capitol Riverfront, which Tammy Shoham and Renan Snowden on my team really shepherd, as well as our 2016 Capitol Riverfront calendar, with all of our concerts and movie days and other events in the Capitol Riverfront, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But these are nice takeaways from us to you as a reminder of the things that we're doing. But thank you again, Mayor. I appreciate you spending the time with us. Enjoy your lunch. So 3 years ago, our annual report was entitled Growth is Built on a Solid Foundation. And one of the foundational aspects of that is partnerships between the public and the private sector and all the things that they do as partners in our neighborhood. And we gave out awards that first year to two private sector partners, W.C. Smith, as well as Forest City, Washington. And we also recognized Mayor Anthony Williams as our great public sector partner for the vision he set. Last year, we recognized Tommy Wells as our public sector partner because of the things he did with the bag law, his commitment to environmental sustainability, a number of projects that he shepherded here. This year, we want to recognize two stalwarts, one private sector, one public sector, and I'm going to begin with the public sector. And we're joined by Eleanor Holmes Norton, who is the legendary Congresswoman from the District of Columbia representing us for the past 26 years. And we want to recognize her as our public sector partner with our Foundation Award. She's in her 13th term in Congress. Think about that, 26 years of representing our interests through committees and votes in committees and actions on the floor. She's directly responsible in our neighborhood for 55 acres of the Southeast Federal Center being developed as the federal DOT headquarters building, but also the project you may know as the Yards, 42 acres with Yards Park, almost 4 million square feet of development, retail, residential, office that's being built right before our very eyes, just to the east of us. That 2 million square foot headquarters building of DOT, 7,000 employees coming to our neighborhood to help support the restaurants and also create us as an office submarket and brand us as that way. And then finally, early on, through the Base Realignment and Closure Act, she shepherded 6,000 jobs from Crystal City to our neighborhood, with NAVC coming from Crystal City, more than doubling the employment density at the Navy Yard and spurring our first wave of private office development since the 1960s in the Capitol Riverfront. There's no better friend at the federal level than Eleanor Holmes Norton to our city, to our neighborhood, to the residents of the District of Columbia. For that, we thank you for your service, your dedication, your investment in our neighborhood, what you've done, and want to give you our Public Sector Award. Tammy, come on up.
I want to thank you very much, Michael, for this recognition. An award from the Capital City bid is very special to me. Michael, I want to thank you for standing up a bid. While this project was in the development stage and long before many businesses were here, the bid recognizes really the full intent of my bill that was given the auspicious name as the, what was it now? It was the Southeast Federal Center Public-Private Development Act. You know, I like the Yards better. I was able to get this bill through a Republican House and a Republican Senate and signed by a Republican president after I dragged the subcommittee members down here. Every bit of this 55 acres, and it's the only public-private federal site in the United States, was owned by the United States of America, and I dragged them down to see all the waste to the federal government involved in not developing this site. This led to the passage of the bill that I just mentioned. Tony was mayor then, so this development has gone on through several mayors, and that's how we intended it. When you see anything developing, whether you go to N Street, back to the Harris Teeter, stopping only at Nationals Park, you are seeing the Public-Private Development Act. The mayor mentioned the wharf. Before there was a wharf, there was this site, and I was determined that the entire Anacostia waterway land be developed. We promised you in the bill 20 years of development, and all you've got to do is to come periodically down to this site. Every time I come down, I mean, I've even changed my Harris Teeter to the site at 4th Street. Every time I come down, there is something new. Many of you who are here today are entirely responsible for it. I tell you what it means. It means revenue for the District of Columbia. It means revenue for the federal government. So I'm here to thank all of you for what you're doing for the federal taxpayers and for the taxpayers of the District of Columbia. Thank you.
So I mentioned there's a private sector part of this as well. And some of you are looking at the private sector partner of our foundation awards. And it's MRP Realty that's building Dock 79 right outside the window here. I want to bring it up so you can actually see it. It represents 305 multifamily apartments right on the riverfront. You can see it under construction with the rendering of what it's going to look like. This is one of the projects that Tammy Shoham, my VP of Planning and Development, tracks and keeps records on. It also includes 20,000 square feet of retail on the ground floor. And I've stood in that space, looked out over the river, and I can't wait to dine there at one of the restaurants that's coming. It also, for us, the significance of it is the expansion of Diamond Teak Park, the first public park investment in our neighborhood with the docks and piers. They're going to enhance it by adding space to the west of it as part of their project. It represents an extension of the Riverwalk Trail when the PUD is fully built out, going all the way to the South Capitol Street Bridge. It represents new marina slips right on the Anacostia River, which we desperately need so people can have more active boating engagement of the Anacostia River. And this is a great joint venture between Florida Rock Properties, who control the site, still do for a number of years, as the Florida Rock Concrete Plant. And David DeVilliers, if you're here today, we appreciate your commitment to the neighborhood. But John Beggart, please come on up and accept your private sector award on behalf of MRP Realty and Florida Rock. Oh, and you are here too, Frederick? Yes, great. Thank you. Would you like to say hi?
Want to thank everybody for this award. Very honored and proud, obviously, to be given this award, but also very excited to be part of what has been in the making for quite a while here. I'm one of the founders of MRP Realty. Before we started MRP in our Trammell Crow days, we looked out in this area, and there were a lot of industrial buildings. And I've been doing development for about 30 years, and I would like to think that I have some vision, but driving around through the industrial buildings that were here, I just couldn't see it. And it's amazing what has been done, because that's a little bit over, I think, 12 years ago that the initial renovations or the repositioning started. And what a vision it has been. And even when we started with our Riverfront dock 79 project, still pieces of the puzzle came together where the Yachts Park and Diamond Teak were not yet connected. And while we were working on the project, that connection came into place. And slowly everything is starting to meld together. And again, we're very excited to be part not only of the, on Riverfront, we have a couple of other projects that we're part of, not only here, but also next to the soccer stadium. So we are very happy to be part of this area, and we're very glad that we can do our piece. And thank you again for the award.
All right, congratulations to the award winners. And now we're going to go to the fun stuff. The market overview and summary of the development dynamic occurring in the Capital Riverfront that we give on an annual basis. This is based on a lot of data mining and tracking that Tammy Shoham and Renan Snowden do in our neighborhood every year. They issue quarterly reports, and it really serves as the fundamental foundational basis for the information that we give to brokers and developers and others so that they can make informed decisions about our market. I'm going to quote that old famous philosopher Yogi Berra. It's déjà vu all over again. And this year's development is surpassing last year's, and we are very, very excited as to what's going on. Just a quick reminder of what's happening here. We're building a true live, work, play neighborhood. And that's a phrase that's often used in the city, and we're fortunate that we are an urban, walkable city with a great metro system and neighborhoods clustered around stations and density occurring. But we now have almost 5,000 residents, 34,000 employees, and 10 acres of world-class parks that create part of our civic infrastructure. You may have seen this map, but we use it constantly to remind people we're just 5 blocks south of the U.S. Capitol on 2 miles of riverfront frontage. And we're enhancing our Capitol bike share stations. They're a very popular mode of transportation. 10-minute headways on the circulator connecting us to the Red Line and Union Station. Our ridership at Navy Yard Ballpark, as you heard the council member say, is rising and second only to one. And we have great regional interstate highway accessibility from I-295 and I-395. But what's become so clear to us through Tammy's tracking is we're the fastest growing neighborhood in Washington, D.C. It's an amazing statistic when you think about where we were just a few short years ago during the depths of the recession. Here are the big numbers. 10 apartment buildings under construction representing over 3,100 units. 3 hotels under construction. 1 is now finished, the Hampton Inn. 1 office building by Skanska under construction. 59 retailers, of which 32 are restaurants. 2.5 million square feet of development will be surrounding the ballpark Half Street area. That's getting ready to break loose in a big way. And 7 condominium buildings should break ground in 2016, containing almost 1,000 units of for-sale housing, which the market has been crying out for. Our retail anchors are in place. People often observed, well, you don't have a grocery store, you don't have enough restaurants. Well, now we have a 50,000 square foot Harris Teeter, a 35,000 square foot Whole Foods opening in 2017 as part of the W.C. Smith development called the Agora. And we also have a 28,000 square foot Vita Fitness and Pool Club with Bang Salon and Aura Spa and other ancillary retail support. So those fundamental aspects of that market are in place. The restaurant scene is growing. You can look at this chart and see before the year of 2014, only 19 were open. Now we had 8 in 2014 and 5 opened in 2015. And the list that's going to open in 2016 and beyond with a variety of deliveries, we won't have room, as Tammy says, for all the logos on this page on our PowerPoint. We're building a civic infrastructure. Part of the foundational aspects are having schools and having parks and having daycare facilities. Van Ness Elementary School, through efforts like residents like Meredith Fawcett, who's our A&C commissioner, had the school reopened, worked with DCPS. It's now a pre-K and K, first grade next year, second grade the year after, all the way to 5th grade. This is going to be a wonderful community asset, and the Arthur Capper Carrollsburg Community Center will reopen, or will open in the spring of this year. We welcome DC United, thanks to the effort of Mayor Gray, followed up by Mayor Bowser on the Economic Development Committee. The stadium is coming. It's going to transform and be an anchor of Buzzard Point. Thank you to Eric Shaw and the Office of Planning for doing a master plan for Buzzard Point that will realize 9 million square feet of new development, Lots of units of housing, both market rate and affordable, new retail support services, and office in Buzzard Point. Look out the window now, you're going to see the last vestiges of our industrial heritage in this neighborhood because they're going to be gone except for the Pepco power station. Everything else will be new development with that stadium anchor. We do this every day. The sun shines here every day. We have events every day in the Capitol Riverfront. We set a record this past year with 299 events in our neighborhood, attracting 2.7 million attendees. A lot of those were baseball games, 81 and 2.4 million. But our events have become such a platform for marketing and selling the quality of life of our neighborhood to people who want to live here, work here, or just visit here and enjoy the parks and access to the river. Great scene on Hass Street. This is going to be transformed with new development by Jair Lynch, JBG Companies, Brandywine and Ackridge, joining already the 55 M Street and what's happening on 1st Street. Just imagine being able to go to bars and restaurants and clubs all along the stretch, as well as other support retail. And our parks are for more than just concerts. Look at this yoga festival that happened and all the people enjoying the great outdoors on the River Terrace steps. We had an exercise class every day of the week this past summer, so we were doing this every day. Our Friday night concerts, the 5th year celebration of Yards Park being open, attracted more visitors than any other season. We averaged almost 3,000 and were overwhelmed one night with 5,000 attendees for the White Ford Bronco concert. It really showed the power and appeal of these as magical spaces on the river and how people like to come out. DC Jazz Fest discovered us. They're coming back for their 3rd year at the Riverfront, Yards Park, and the Yards Project, the Capitol Riverfront stage there, 3,000 participants last year. And then Tour de Fat will be back again this year. They had 9,000 participants. This young man won a bike that day. It appeals to cross-generational, and it's such a fun family activity that celebrates bicycling and craft brewed beers. And New Year's Eve at Yards Park, we do this in collaboration with the Yards in Forest City, Washington. A celebration at noon on that day for families. This past year, we had 5,000 people in the park for that. It's amazing how families love these parks, and they have branded our neighborhood as so family-friendly. Canal Park, the sister to Yards Park, with its 42 water jets, its ice skating rink. You can see that it's open right now. Many of you have coupons for free skating at the rink, so go do that this afternoon in the cold weather. We do movies there every Thursday night in the summer. Over 5,000 people come out. This is a popular thing across the city. We like this venue in particular because of the backdrop of the buildings that you see and the public art. 2nd year, we've had Parcel Market, our holiday market at Canal Park. Over 6,000 participants over Saturday afternoon and evening and Sunday afternoon. Craft makers, craft food, craft beers, all independent retailers gathering under this big tent structure that involved the ice rink, outdoor music, DJs, and wonderful time in the tent. Part of our marketing is selling the neighborhood through a video, and I have to commend Bonnie Wright, our manager of marketing and communications, that really shepherded this effort that we unveiled last year, and it subsequently has won 2 national awards, one from the International Downtown Association, the other from the International Economic Development Council, for the excellence of this production and how it promotes. And I guess the highest form of flattery is copying it. And one town in California almost took it verbatim as their marketing video, so I guess that was ultimate flattery. We're relaunching a new website and rebranding it. It's more functional, better visibility. Tammy has been shepherding this as well. I didn't know if you wanted to add any remarks to that. Okay, all right. But she's headed up that project. We'll have a mobile app. It's going to have a whole new look, feel, and both parks' websites are being rolled into this one as our new website. And now for the hard work. The really synopsis is what's been happening in our neighborhood over the past year. And I like this quote as well. Growth is never by mere chance. It is a result of forces working together. Public-private partnerships, private reinvestment based on public investment over the past 10 years in our neighborhood. Another big headline, in 3 years, our neighborhood will be essentially 60% built out in all those market segments. And you'll see a doubling of residential units, of retail square footage, and hotel units being provided. This is an amazing accomplishment and represents the largest development cycle in the neighborhood's history. You can see here on the pie charts the projects, but also that doubling from 3,265 units to over almost 5,500. The retail surged from 250 to 440,000, and hotel from 372, 365 under construction right now. So these are amazing development stats, bringing new users, new residents, new visitors to our neighborhood. And I like this. We showed this 2 years ago. Delta tracks apartment starts, and as of 2015, there were 3,756 market rate or apartment starts in the city. We accounted for 32% of those housing starts here in the Capitol Riverfront. Quite an amazing accomplishment for a 500-acre neighborhood, given the amount of apartment development going on. And this leads to this bar graph chart that shows we should hit almost 10,000 residents in 2018, almost doubling our current 4,800 residents. So we're an urban residential neighborhood that's going to grow by leaps and bounds, ultimately to almost 12,000 units and perhaps up to 20,000 people living in our neighborhood. But that's not the only side of the story. Even with a sluggish office market over the past 3 years, we're gaining traction and momentum in that market segment. 99M by Skanska at First and M is well underway. Beautiful new Class A office space of 220,000 square feet. Monument Realty is building 1M, which will be the headquarters building for the National Association of Broadcasters. They're moving from DuPont Circle to our neighborhood to be close to the United States Capitol and their constituents there. And DC Water's coming here from Blue Plains, consolidating their administrative offices throughout the city into a 167,000 square foot building, gorgeous design, be right on the river near their historic pump house. I think this is going to be quite an addition to our landscape. And retail, people often wondered when it was coming. Well, I think it's here in a big way as one of our fundamentals. I mentioned the Harris Teeter, the Vita, the 30 restaurants being joined by Banfield Pet Hospital, Hue and Cry, Pacers. Under construction is Whole Foods, Circa, Phil's Coffee, Chopped, Taylor Gourmet, more coming. And Madam Mayor, there's a packet of Phil's Coffee there for you. They brought it for you today. In the pipeline, Showplace Icon Movie Theater, 16 screens coming starting this year. The District Winery, an amazing wine manufacturer that will be part of the Yards development overlooking Yards Park. Going to be a wonderful facility for gatherings just like this. And there's more coming as more and more of these buildings occur. But you can see the development numbers of how much is in place, how much is under construction, and the pipeline. And a lot of that will be occurring at Half Street, near the center field gate of Yards Park, as that sub-district of our neighborhood starts to build out. So what are our coming attractions? 2016 has already started off in a big way for us, and we're happy with what's unfolding. Tammy and her team have been working on a wayfinding signage plan. As more people come, we want them to be visually oriented through signage, public, that guides them to destinations, both public and private, has kiosks with maps, and a new banner program. So this will really be an enhancement to our public realm. Renan Snowden on our team has worked on the Navy Yard wall exhibit behind these walls. We're now in trying to get permits, going through review with the Navy and the Commission on Fine Arts and NCPC. But these will be wonderful photographs of historic events and episodes in the Navy on that historic wall that animates and serves to say there's a lot of history happening behind these walls. We're launching a communications plan for the next 3 to 5 years to retell the story of the Capitol Riverfront and what's happened over the past 3 years and what's going to be happening over the next 3 to 5. This will be the platform for our office attraction, our residential attraction, our retail attraction, but also selling the quality of life here. Yards Park Marina, Forest City, Washington's building it right now. You can go down and see it under construction, 51 slips, another element of engaging the river. We're going to be looking at the New Jersey Avenue underpass and better lighting there, sculpture hopefully at one of the entrances, working with W.C. Smith and CSX Railroad to enhance these gateways into our neighborhood, with a Whole Foods being right there as one of the gateway signature projects. And then, of course, the next wave of development that is in your document there of our annual report, of condominium buildings, of new office buildings, of more retail, more residential coming, more civic infrastructure. This is going to go on for the next 3 to 5 years and really define us as we start to exceed even 60% of development. I want to come back to one of our fundamentals. If there is magic on this planet, it is contained in water. And I think one of our formative shaping elements is the Anacostia River. And for years, people turned their backs on it. It was polluted, and it took the vision of Mayor Williams and Andy Altman in 2003 and the action of the District Council to adopt it as a framework plan for people to really realize the value of this and that we could engage, embrace, and celebrate a body of water, and it can create new communities, new parks, new avenues to engage, a new Riverwalk trail system. So we always remember the Anacostia and the power and the magic of water as part of our heritage and what drives our location as a quality of life destination and a regional waterfront destination. And I come back to this. We do this every day. It's really important to realize that it's not just about the summer. It's about fall and spring and winter programming, and that we're open, it feels like 7 days a week. But my team works very hard, from Renan and Tammy on the planning and development side, to Bonnie on marketing and PR, to Otis and Lindsay and Dan on managing the parks and doing programming. We're the only bid in the city that manages and programs and operates a city-owned park, Yards Park, and we've assumed those responsibilities for Canal Park as well. And we take that very seriously, because this is our civic infrastructure that has created community, a sense of place, and identity for a neighborhood that had none for the previous 20 to 40 years. These are fundamental aspects of our neighborhood, part of the foundation of growth, and we're so happy to be able to share that with you today. So thank you for coming with us on a journey. It's been an incredible journey for the past 8 years as a bid, but this really started in 1995 with the Base Realignment and Closure Act that brought NAVC. So thank you, Ms. Norton, for your hand in that. Thank you for the other investment that you guided here. Thank you, Mayor Williams, for your vision. And thank you, Mayor Bowser, for continuing it. I can't think of 3 better public leaders who get us and get us well and have our back and guide investment for us. So thank you, and I want everyone to give them all a round of applause again. So please enjoy the rest of the day. We're actually a little bit early. Enjoy networking, enjoy looking out over the Buzzer Point area, but thank you again for coming to celebrate the past year of 2015. You've been a lovely audience. Enjoy the day. Thank you.